Stefan Rapazzo here on ULTI.TV, and I am joined with Kat Phillips, one of the best players in our sport of ultimate. Kat represented Australia as a croc at the World Games, as a firetail at WUGCs multiple times, as a stingray, in the under 24, which was an under 23 division back in the day when she won a gold medal for Australia. She's also a big part of the foundation of Ellipsis, who are 4-time national champions in Australia. Also very well renowned across the world for their featuring and winning of the US Open. She is recently, as recent as competition was happening in the US, played with the Toronto Sixers, a Canadian team that went down and made the final of the USA Nationals. And she's also a dual sport athlete playing in the AFLW. Kat Smith, a wonderful, resounding resume. Welcome to our show. How are you today?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm pumped to be here.
Cool. A pleasure to have you, of course. We're getting into AUC Australia's 2021 National Championship, something that was a question mark on the calendar for much of last year anyways, whether it was going to happen. It is going ahead this year. We are very excited at ULTI.TV to have a chance to broadcast it, and I know a lot of the players are very excited for a chance to compete in a very strange year. But why don't you tell us, Kat, about how this season has gone? Take us back to, I guess, selection and pre-announcement of nationals, and give us a little bit of a taste of what you've gone through personally and as a team to get from maybe December, January until now. How's that gone?
Yeah, I'll start with a team view of it. It has obviously been a really different year and a really different lead up. Living in Victoria all through last year, we weren't able to really do anything. There was no training, couldn't even get out and throw with a partner for a large part of the year. And so coming into October, November, when everything started to open up a little bit, even though we didn't know what the year might look like or whether we could play again, even being able to get out and throw and, meet up with 4 or 5 people at the local park, that was a really big deal for people. And I think that has really led to a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of excitement about being able to play again together, which has just been really lovely to be a part of. I think for me, I'm coming into probably my 10th or 11th nationals now, and this one definitely feels really different, and there's just a great vibe about the team and about the club to be able to play again and to be able to, go out and compete against the best teams in the country.
Exciting. You said you've played up to 11, maybe. You've won 4 with Ellipsis. Did you have another couple titles before that with Sporting Team Box Atletico United?
Yeah, I had one with them back in 2014. Couple of times we came second with them, didn't get past the final.
Yes, I remember the honey year Newcastle, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. And then what about yourself personally, getting into this season, managing a couple of responsibility, like athletic responsibilities anyways? How's that gone for you?
Yeah, it's been quite different for me again. The last 4 or 5 years now, I've balanced AFLW with Ultimate, and they have a lot of overlap with when we play. So AFLW, we run from the beginning of November until the end of March, and obviously the Ultimate season is kind of beginning of November until April. In the past, I've been able to do them both pretty effectively. That we know when footy training's locked in, we know when frisbee training's locked in, and I can go between the two. This year, with everything to do with COVID, I really haven't been able to do that. We didn't have our footy schedule until the week before, and we were pretty strongly advised not to do anything that might increase our risk of being exposed to anything. So really, it was going to work and going to training, and that's about it. And that meant that I really haven't been able to train with the team until we got knocked out of footy finals, which happened only a week ago now. So again, it's been, I think the Lippy girls were all pretty happy when we got knocked out.
It's a shame,
yeah,
but I understand.
yeah. So it's been quite different from that perspective, that I really haven't had a lot of involvement. I've been able to come in and out to a couple of trainings here and there, but the last couple of weeks has been great to get back into it and to really see the big improvement in the group, and get to be a part of it leading internationals.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure your squad is very excited to have you back. I'm sure they would have been rooting for you nonetheless, but a little bit of a silver lining of your footy
Yeah.
loss is them getting you back on the field. So
Yeah.
good for them, I guess. Let's talk about like the international stage here a bit. Everything, there's nothing on a WULTI calendar looking ahead. We hope that we start getting some dates and some tournaments set in the near future. But we wait. In the meantime, Australia and New Zealand seem to be the only countries going ahead with national championships and kind of regular training and some warm-up tournaments, a bit of a season. How do you see that playing out advantageously, perhaps for Australia when we finally do get a chance to play internationally again?
Impactful, like the next World Championships that we have coming up, obviously, are the World Games in 2022 and the World Club Championships in 2022. And I think for Worlds in 2020 to have been cancelled, that's a really long period of time for a lot of people to have not competed at that high level. And so having nationals, I think, is extremely important to give people that high level practice, and even just to keep the drive and the motivation there. Again, like for me personally, the last time I played a competitive game of Ultimate was in the middle of 2019. And, I've come back into training over the last couple of weeks, and it really made me think about what it would look like if I didn't have anything until potentially World Games or World Clubs next year. That would be a very, very long period of time. And so I think particularly for our younger players that are coming through, they need that high level competition, and it's really great that we've been able to get to a place where we can do that here.
Awesome. I was in one of our chats with I think Lada. We were also talking about the retention factor of these new young players. Being able to keep them is everybody who's played Ultimate for a long time and has played nationals or international competitions, they're stuck kind of. They've got the bug, they've got bitten, and they're not going anywhere. But we do risk losing new waves of recruitment without being able to offer opportunities to compete. So it is very good that the Australian youngins and rookies are going to get this chance in the upcoming week.
So, definitely.
So speaking of the upcoming week, you're back recently, but happy to be there. What is the team vibe? And when I talk about that, what is preparation led to? What are your focuses or expectations for the tournament? What's coming out of the Ellipsis women's squad less than a week away from the national championship?
Yeah, we've got quite a different looking team than what we had back in 2019 now. We've had a heap of turnover and a lot of really great young talent coming through, which is really awesome. And again, I think with that retention factor, being able to have so many of those young players coming through and now who are really pumped about the opportunity to play again, it's meant that there's just been a lot of energy and a lot of passion from all of them around, making the year as good as it can be and being the best that they can be. I could rattle off 10 names that I'm excited about from the team, or even probably more. But a couple of key people, Ruby Anderson, who came to the club in 2018 and played World Clubs with us as a rookie on that team. And then she went off to Europe, I think, and we haven't had her in the team for the last couple of years. But Ruby has come back way, way bigger and better, and we're all pumped about what she can bring and how she can compete. Tracy Chong is another one who people who know the under-24 competition might have heard of. Tracy played the Stingrays back 2018 now, I think. And again, Tracy's just taken her game to the next level and is going to be a massive weapon. And then Liv Carr is another big one where, again, people who have been watching the Stingrays and watching Youth Ultimate will know Liv. But she's just a massive workhorse and continuing to take her game to the next level. But I can probably bore you with going through all of our great young players. I could talk about them all day.
I don't think I would get bored. You're welcome to. And all these names are pretty new for me. I try and keep up with Ultimate, but I'm a little bit removed from the Australian scene, so those are all new names to me. Before I do let you rattle on too many more names, you say it's a very different team. How many players exist, or what potential percentage of players remain from that last championship team of yours?
Without having gone through it, I reckon probably less than half.
Oh wow.
We had a number of our more senior players kind of move on, or take a break from Ultimate, go and do other things with their life. So Shannon Trenwith, Kim Spragg, who are both Firetails, and Adelaide Dennis did her knee, and so the three of them are really big key people to not be playing. Right. But it's more over the last 3 or 4 years, we have just had a lot of turnover and a lot of young players coming through and developing really well, and then being able to own their spot on the team.
Awesome. And with the influx of youth players, is Ellipsis growing to have a second women's team? Do they have that and I'm unaware, or is that a future ambition at all?
We don't have that, and it's not something that we have really looked at doing in a lot of detail. Our view on it is that there are really great playing opportunities at a whole lot of different levels within Melbourne. And we haven't seen a lot of clubs be able to really effectively and really well run multiple teams at the same time. And so we'd rather focus on what we know we can do well, and provide that high level, and then, try and get involved in other development outside of the club or outside of the national season where we can.
Awesome. Keep it elite. I like the I like the sentiment. It looks good on the club. Well, with all that said, Kat, it's been a pleasure, but I can't let you go without getting your predictive insights. We'll start in the men's division. There's 9 teams going. I think I could list them off now. I've talked a couple of times. So we've got your Ellipsis, and then of course Chile Heads of State. You've got the 2 Sunder teams that were once known as Colony, Newcastle and Wollongong. So that's Crank and I-Beam. And there's 2 teams that remain who are Canberra, the host, Fishwick, and who's left? Outbreak. Yes, that's it. Adelaide. Yeah. So who's going to win? Give me a champion and maybe a top 4. Give me semifinalists in Kat Phillips' eyes.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go with our men. I think they're looking really great.
Shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, again, they've got a heap of great up-and-coming talent that a lot of people probably haven't heard of before, an awesome vibe, and the top-end players that can really help them to learn and develop. I'm going to maybe throw out a wild card and go with I-Beam for coming second. I'm always a big fan of I-Beam. They seem to turn up with like 10 players every year. But, like, Timmy Lavis is still there and still running, and while he's doing that, I reckon they'll be pretty good.
Nice.
And then probably can't go past the Sunder or the ex-Colony boys for 3rd and 4th. It'd be fun to see them battling it out, but not in the final.
Yes, I agree. We've seen too much of that in us in finals, seeing
the
Sydney interclub final.
Yeah.
Okay, so that takes care of the men. I like the I-Beam, and I do strongly agree that they do this practically savage kind of campaigns. And
I'm about it.
Now you said Lavis is there. Is John Greenfield still playing?
Look, I think he was pre-COVID back 2019. I think he was still there. I don't know how. And every time I hear the boys talk about him, even these 25-year-olds, incredible.
Yeah, I did lose you for 1 second, but I think I got the chat sped up back to me. But yes, John Greenfield. I hope he's there. I want to he's there. But the ladies division, let's finish off. I think I'm not going to be surprised with your champion choice based on your bias in the last 4 years. But tell me who's going to be in the final and who the semifinalists will be.
Yeah. I think it will be a repeat of the last final where we played against Manly. I think they, similar to what we have, they have some really strong top-end talent, particularly really elite throwers on their team. And then they have a bunch of really great athletic players that have developed really well. And so they have a really strong team because of that. And I think they've got a couple of good pickups that they've brought in over the last year or two as well. So I think Manly will be looking really strong. As you mentioned, I'm backing ourselves in for the win. We go to every tournament aiming to win. In saying that, it has been a really different year that we haven't played any of the other teams outside of Victoria. And so we really, there's been no opportunity to benchmark or to, try out things and see how you perform. So I think because of that, it'll be a really interesting year, or a really interesting nationals, with a lot of teams playing each other for the first time. Third and fourth, probably nothing out of the ordinary, but I think Factory and Rogue will be up there again.
Awesome. Well, it's I wish you the best of luck in what would be a 5th in a row national championship. I think I was commentating when you guys won your very first one. It was my very last week in Australia. So yeah. You've done nothing but win since I left. So maybe that was your omen. I did to leave the country, and now
maybe.
I doubt it. But anyways, a little bit of a pattern there. But I think that's going to be all for today. We don't want to take up too much of your precious time. I know it's your evening. It's our morning. But again, thank you very much for being here and giving us your insights. And we wish you the very best of luck.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And the rest of you, we will have a few more interviews. I've got Bella C coming up next, and we're going to be talking to Tom Regacki tomorrow. All of this will be coming out at you on ULTI.TV. So make sure you subscribe and become a member and like and share and do all those wonderful things. And we will be back with you with more Ultimate Frisbee content very soon. Thanks for joining.